Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Where we take a whole bunch of sources and try to pull out the most interesting nuggets.
Yeah.
And today's topic
I love that nuggets.
is the music of Carlo Matti. And let me tell you, this guy is anything but ordinary.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've got album descriptions, profiles, YouTube video transcripts,
Right.
and they all paint this picture of a musician who is really not just composing, but like exploring all these deep philosophical ideas
Yeah.
through his music.
And you know what I think is really interesting is how he's using everything from like traditional piano to electronics and even everyday objects
Yeah.
to create his music. It's almost like he's saying, the world is full of these sounds and they can all be music if you just listen closely enough.
Yeah. It's like expanding our definition of what even counts as music.
Exactly.
But I think to start, we should probably talk about this label Raighes Factory,
Okay.
which is based in Sardinia. They've released a ton of Carlo's music.
Yeah.
But the story of how they connected, I think is almost as interesting as the music itself.
Oh, for sure.
He was basically ready to give up on composing.
Yeah, he was at a real turning point, and you can hear that in his music too.
Yeah.
Like Roberto Diana, the founder of Raighes Factory, basically coaxed him back into making music.
Wow.
And that was kind of the turning point that led to his album, The Sense of Passage, which is all these like short, intense piano pieces.
Oh, I see. So it's almost like he needed that push to kind of
Yeah, like a little nudge.
reignite that passion.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and there's actually a quote where Carlos says, Roberto Diana and Raighes Factory allowed me to develop those musical energies and stimulated my creativity by always leaving me free to choose my musical path.
I love that.
And I think you can really hear that freedom like in the
Yeah.
wide variety of his projects. Like
Yeah.
he's not afraid to experiment or anything.
No, totally. And a good example of that is his collaboration with Simone Ficiccia, the saxophonist and activist.
Oh yeah, the Earth single.
Yeah.
I was reading about that. It's funny because he initially didn't think the project would happen.
Oh, really?
He was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Cool.
It'll never come to fruition.
He's so humble.
I know, right?
But thankfully, it did come to fruition.
Yeah.
And it's a really powerful piece of music.
Yeah.
They connect the title to the Hebrew word arsentetz, which symbolizes branching out and interconnectedness. And you can really hear those ideas kind of woven into the music itself.
So how does that like play out musically? Like what does interconnectedness sound like?
Well, it's interesting because they blend elements of Ligeti's almost cosmic stillness
Okay.
with like the raw power of Xenakis.
Wow.
And even hints of Morricone's, that like, dramatic flair.
Okay.
So it's like they're creating this sonic tapestry that's both vast and intimate,
Wow.
connecting the personal to the universal.
That is a deep dive into sound. And speaking of weaving together all these different elements, there's also the Lauds EP, which is based on St. Francis of Assisi's Canticle of the Creatures.
Yeah.
But he doesn't just set it to music
Right.
in a straightforward way. There are all these layers to it.
Oh, yeah. He calls it a magic trick,
Yeah.
where what appears is never the whole truth.
Okay.
You've got the medieval-inspired lauda, and then there's this, like, modern clarinet, almost like it's an observer,
Yeah.
Plus these deep baritone voices and even shamanic instruments.
Right.
So he's creating the sonic dialogue between different eras and different spiritual traditions.
And he didn't do it alone, right? There were other collaborators on that project.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Alessio Zanovello, Novosoli, Marco Grattarola, and Andrea Monstretta all lent their talents to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool how many different collaborations he has going on.
Yeah.
It's like he thrives on this creative exchange,
He
the
does.
blending of different ideas and sounds,
Yeah, it all ties back to his slogan.
which is,
Music is connection.
Right.
All is music.
it's really true. And I think that's a great point, that it's not just about the notes,
Exactly.
but it's about the connections between people, between ideas, between forms of expression.
Right.
And speaking of connections, we have to talk about the legend of the guitarist cat.
Oh, yes.
This is more than just an album.
It is.
There's a whole book and an audiobook
You got it.
that goes along with it.
This one really gets to the heart of his exploration of what music can be.
Okay.
There's this quote I found really intriguing.
Okay.
He says, "You realize that everything that happens here actually happens within you."
Oh,
Talking about the guitarist cat.
yeah.
It's like he's blurring the lines between the story and the music and the listener's own internal experience.
So it's almost like a musical choose your own adventure.
Yes.
where you get to decide what the story means to you.
Exactly.
I love that.
And he even created this alter ego specifically for this project.
Right.
Juan Alberto Castillo, a Spanish guitarist, who makes this meditative, mystical music inspired by the landscapes of Andalusia.
And then he's got all these other alter egos too, like Ananda Ive
Yes.
and Maya Sand and the Daniel Curtis trio.
He does. It's wild.
Yeah, it's almost like he's got this whole cast of characters living inside of him that all have their own musical voice.
It's like he's channeling all these different aspects of himself.
Yeah.
All these different ways of experiencing and expressing music.
So let's break it down. What kind of musical vibes are we talking about with each of these alter egos?
Okay, so with Ananda Ave, think ambient new age soundscapes.
Okay.
Lots of like swirling textures,
Okay.
ethereal melodies,
Nice.
like a soundtrack for a journey through the cosmos.
Oh, I like that. Okay, what about Maya Sand?
Maya Sand leans more towards electronic music,
Okay.
but with a very introspective feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like dancing in the moonlight, but instead of a club, you're in like a forest clearing surrounded by ancient trees.
Whoa, that's a very vivid image.
Right.
Okay, and the Daniel Curtis trio.
Daniel Curtis trio, think classic jazz, but with its quiet, introspective depth.
Okay.
Like you're sipping a glass of wine on a balcony overlooking the Tiber River at twilight.
Oh, very nice. I like it.
That's the vibe.
It's amazing how he can like embody all these different styles, but still maintain his own unique voice.
I know, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's like he's saying music isn't limited by genre or expectations. It's just this vast, ever-expanding universe
Yeah,
waiting to be explored.
totally. And speaking of exploring, we should mention his work with Collettivo Armonico.
Oh, yes. That really caught my eye, too. That's another collaboration.
It is.
And it's a side project of Roberto Diana, a
Yes.
founder of Raighes Factory.
It's like this full circle moment
Yeah.
within the label's creative network.
I love that.
And their single Lago del Gallo is a perfect example of how Carlo can just move between styles
Yeah,
while staying true to his core aesthetic.
totally.
It's this serene neoclassical piano piece that captures the beauty of Livigno and Lake Gallo.
I read that it was compared to the works of Ludovico Einaudi and Max Richter,
Yeah.
really emphasizing that connection to nature and introspection.
Totally. It's like he's painting this sonic landscape,
Yeah,
inviting us to step into this peaceful, contemplative space.
this is awesome.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like we've covered so much ground already,
I know, me too.
but we're only just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it's like a labyrinth
Yeah.
of all of these interconnected paths that each lead to a new discovery.
Yeah, and there's this underlying unity to it all, too.
There is.
It's like he's always striving to connect to something deeper,
Yeah,
something beyond the notes themselves.
totally. And that brings us back to his slogan,
Music is connection.
all is music.
What do you think he means by that?
Well, it's a simple statement,
Yeah.
but I think it speaks volumes about his whole approach to music.
Mm.
He's not just creating sounds, he's creating experiences, connections,
Yeah,
bridges between the inner and outer world.
yeah.
And I think that's what makes his music so compelling. It invites us to listen, not just with our ears, but with our hearts and minds as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great place to stop for now.
Okay.
We'll pick back up in a little bit.
Sounds good. It's not just about connecting with ourselves, though, right? It's also about connecting with the world around us, with
Yeah.
other people with different cultures and traditions.
Exactly. Like with Lodz,
Yeah.
he's bringing together all these seemingly different things. Medieval chants, a modern clarinet, shamanic instruments,
Yeah,
and it somehow works.
it does.
It's like he's saying, even though these things might seem different on the surface, there's a deeper connection there,
Right.
this shared human experience.
It's like a sonic tapestry
Yeah.
woven from threads of history, spirituality, personal expression.
Yeah, and it makes you think about what music even is.
Totally.
Like it can be all these things.
It can.
And something we see throughout his work is this willingness to experiment,
Yeah.
to push the boundaries of what we think music is,
Absolutely.
to challenge conventions. He's not afraid to take risks
Yeah.
or go against the grain.
He's not afraid to be different.
Yeah.
And that's reflected in his use of alter egos.
Right.
It's like he's giving himself permission to explore these different sides of his musical personality.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes using alter egos can seem like you're hiding
Yeah.
or putting on a mask.
Right.
But with him, it feels like the opposite.
It does.
It's like he's revealing different layers of himself,
Yeah.
different ways of experiencing and expressing music.
It's not about creating a false persona.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into different energies,
Yeah.
different moods.
Totally, and it's such a powerful message,
It is.
especially today,
Yeah.
where we're often pressured to fit in.
To conform.
Yeah, exactly. And he's reminding us that it's okay to be complex, to embrace all the different sides of yourself.
Let your freak flag fly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what makes his music so captivating.
Yeah.
You never know what to expect.
You don't.
What sonic world he's going to take you to next.
That's true.
What emotion he's going to evoke.
And he does it in a way that makes you think it's
Yeah.
not passive listening.
Right.
Yeah.
And yet there's also this sense of grounding,
Yeah.
of purpose,
Definitely.
this connection to something bigger than himself.
It's like he's not just playing with sounds.
Right.
He's using them to explore the mysteries of the universe,
Yeah, the human condition.
the essence of existence.
Like music is this language that speaks to the soul,
it is.
that connects us to something beyond ourselves.
Exactly. And he's inviting us to join him on that journey,
Yeah, to listen deeply,
to open our hearts and minds.
to discover the music within us and around us.
I love that.
Me too. When I first started researching Carlo Matti, I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, this guy's got a lot going on.
I know.
Alter egos, collaborations, books, audiobooks.
It's a lot.
It's almost overwhelming, but now I'm starting to see how it all fits together.
Yeah.
Like each piece is part of a bigger picture.
It's like a constellation, with each star representing a different project,
I like that.
a different collaboration, a different facet of his musical identity.
Yeah.
And you step back and see this whole network of light and sound.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And at the center of it all is Carlo Matti,
Right.
this kind of enigmatic figure who seems to be both everywhere and nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like he's channeling all these different creative energies.
Like a conduit.
Yeah.
He's tapped into this universal frequency,
Mhm.
this cosmic symphony that's always playing.
Wow. And speaking of tuning in, we should talk about his Zodiac album.
Okay.
That's probably his most explicitly astrological work.
It is.
Why do you think he chose to explore this theme?
Well, I think he's fascinated by these grand narratives, these
I'm-
systems that try to make sense of the universe
Yeah.
and our place within it.
Mm-hmm.
And the zodiac, with all its symbolism, is perfect for that.
Yeah. So each track on the album corresponds to a zodiac sign.
Exactly. And what's interesting is he doesn't just try to musically depict the characteristics of each sign. He uses them as starting points for these broader exploration of human nature, of the cycles of life, of the cosmic dance between order and chaos.
It's like he's using the zodiac as a lens
He is.
through which to view the human experience.
To explore the universal themes that connect us all.
Yeah. And in doing so, he's inviting us to think about our own astrological identities.
Right.
Not as these fixed destinies,
Yeah.
but as these fluid energies that we can work with.
That we can express in our own unique ways.
So it's not about predicting the future.
Yeah.
It's about understanding ourselves
Right.
and our place in the grand scheme of things.
Exactly.
And that brings us back to music is connection.
All is music.
He's saying that music is more than just something we listen to.
It is.
It's this fundamental force that shapes reality,
Yeah.
that connects us to each other, to the world, to the cosmos.
It's like he's reminding us that we're all these vibrating strings in
Yeah.
this grand symphony of existence.
We're all connected.
Oh.
Yeah. And through his music, he's helping us to hear that harmony.
To tune into the music of our souls
Yes.
and to dance to the rhythm of the universe.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
I think that's a great place to pause for now.
Okay.
And we'll come back and wrap things up.
That sounds good.
As we've been talking about Carlo Matti, I keep thinking about how he's like a bridge builder,
Yeah.
connecting all these different genres, eras, cultures, even parts of himself.
Yeah, he really is like a musical alchemist.
Yeah.
Blending all these different things together to create something totally new.
And it's not just about creating cool sounds.
Yeah.
It's about using those sounds to explore these deeper questions,
Right, the big questions.
Yeah, the ones that have always fascinated people.
Exactly.
And he does it in a way that's both accessible and challenging.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like he draws you in with these beautiful melodies and soundscapes,
Right.
but then it makes you think.
Yeah.
It challenges your assumptions about what music can be.
It's not just entertainment, it's an invitation to a journey,
Yeah.
a quest for meaning and connection.
And speaking of connection,
Yeah.
we have to talk about his slogan again. Music is connection. All is music.
I love that slogan.
What does that mean to you, like in the context of all his work?
Well, I think it speaks to the idea that music is something that flows through us.
Okay.
It connects us to something bigger. It's
Yeah.
this language that transcends words,
Yeah.
that can express things we can't always say.
And Carlo Matti is tapping into that,
He is
this universal language.
this cosmic symphony that unites us all.
He's reminding us that music is everywhere,
Yeah,
in nature, in our own hearts.
in the rustling leaves, the crashing waves.
Yeah, and if we just listen closely, we could tap into that.
That deeper sense of connection,
Yeah.
purpose, of belonging.
It's like he's saying, listen with your soul.
Yeah.
You know, feel the vibrations, feel the harmony.
That connects us all.
That's a beautiful message.
It is.
And I think it's a perfect one to leave our listeners with.
I agree.
Carlo Matti's music is an invitation
Yes.
to explore, to connect, to discover the music within us and all around us.
You can find his music on all the major streaming platforms.
And on the Raighes Factory website.
Yep,
And we hope you'll join us again for another deep dive
we do.
into the world of sound and ideas.
Yeah, until next time, keep exploring, keep listening, keep connecting.
Ciao for now.